So what we're going to do, I will start by showing you all of the supplies that we're going to use, and then we will get started sewing. So, oh, it's showing comments, but it's not showing me any there we go. It wasn't showing me comments. Okay, happy Monday, Gina. Good morning, Randy. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, Wanda. Zila. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, gift bags. So these are fun because we are going to you can make them reusable, and we're going to put like a fabric applique on the front. Hello, Nicole. So that it's a great gift, but you can also, it's a great gift wrap, but they can also use it later on down the road. It would be really cute. You could add a strap and make it like a little hobo bag. So it's really like a hobo bag without a strap. So let's get started. What you're going to need is you need a couple strips of fabric that, and you can find all the sizes and everything in the blog post that's listed up above in the description. So you need a couple pieces of fabric, and then also in the post there's a template for the circle. You need 2 circles. There's, as always, there's a PDF so you can cut it out by hand, or there's an SVG so you can use your cutting machine. I've used my Cricut for these 2 pieces, and then I've also cut my 2 strips out of fabric. And you could, like I said, you could use Christmas fabric. These are somewhat reversible, so you could use a Christmas fabric on the outside, and then later on they can turn it inside out, and just the other fabric will be showing. So let's go ahead and get started then. So I've got 2 pieces that are this size, and one is a gray piece that I've got here. And then the other thing that I've used today is Heat and Bond. This is the sewable version because I like to sew, especially on my appliques and things like this that are going to be used. I like to sew over it. Maybe I'm a spaz, I don't know. So here's my gray fabric, and I've got it down on a towel. And what I've done, I don't even want to show you my next, it's so dirty, but I've cut out, well, what I started with was a piece of fabric that I've attached to Heat and Bond there. And then I placed this face down on my cutting mat. I mirrored the image, which you can find this cut file, the link to this cut file in the blog post that's above, as always. It's a free cut file. And then I mirrored it and I cut it out. Well, I peeled the paper first, peel the paper off, and then cut it out. And there's always debate. There's been some debate in the different Cricut groups that I'm in, but I like to put my fabric face down with the Heat and Bond up. So this shiny bit that has the Heat and Bond, I like that up. Just because, I mean, I don't know. I guess I have a fear that if I put it face down, it'll peel off and it won't be quite right. So that's why I like to put it like this. And then we'll have to flip it over. So that's why you mirror the image, okay? You can do this without this top, without the applique. Do everything that we're doing except for this first bit where we're going to add the applique and sew that on. So this cut file is a little bit complicated, so I'm just going to get started and put it down. So I'm just going to, like I said, it has to go face down because we've mirrored it. So I'm going to take the bigger pieces and just kind of, I'm just transferring a little bit at a time. Make sure you have it lined up where you want it because you're not going to get to, you won't want to move it after that. So I feel like it's quiet today. Okay, then we'll grab this piece, goes under here, just gotta line it up. That's like that. And tweezers help with these little tiny pieces. You can't get them to stay. This is my E, the top of my E. And if you did this out of vinyl, then you could just use a transfer paper. And you wouldn't have to worry about getting it all lined up like this. But you know me, I like to do my fabric. So I'm just laying it down like so. And then almost there. This is part of the S here. That. And I'm going to get it ironed on and then I'll show you what it looks like. Right? Oh my goodness, that was so bizarre. Such a bizarre thing. I was laughing later, I think it was you, Jennifer, that was like, who trolls a sewing video? Like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, why? Why do you even need to do that? People have a lot of time on their hands, apparently. So I'm just going to use my tweezers to put this last bit in place. And then you could use your Easy Press for this. Oh, come on, this piece. Oh, there we go, perfect. Okay, so I've got it in place. I'm going to iron it on, and then I will show you what it looks like so that I don't lose all the things I just did. You could use your Easy Press, but I already have my iron hot, and I'm going to sew over it. So if you were planning to not sew over it, I would use the Easy Press to attach this. But I've got a towel down here. I'm just going to press. I'm going to do all the bits first. Press down on it. Hi, Kim. Are you guys like totally ramping up for Christmas? I feel like it's just crazy here for Christmas. Hi, Lucy. No worries. We're still just getting started. I'm just adding an applique on the front here. I've just used fabric and heat and bond. I cut it out using my Cricut. If you don't have a Cricut and don't want to do this part, just skip this part because we're almost done with it. So here's my cut file. Now we've attached it. This is what it looked. Oh, that didn't go down as well as I'd hoped. We've attached it. As you can see, it's super cute. I'm going to just hit it one more time because I'm going to just sew over. Good morning, Agatha. I'm going to quickly sew over, but I don't want to spend too much time sewing over it just since everybody's intricate and detailed. But I would, if you're going to do this, I want you to sew over the applique part before we do the rest of the tutorial because you're not gonna, it'll be it's just too difficult to sew later. So we want to add this. This all goes first. Put whatever you want on the front first. You can cut out their name and iron that on. Oh, Rand, that's so funny. Yeah, I did all my shopping online and I kind of went crazy and I don't even really remember exactly what I bought. Everything I bought. So that's bad. That's the problem with Amazon is like, who knows? Like I liked it and I bought it and then I forgot about it and I bought more. So I'm just going to quickly top stitch over a bit of this. I'm not going to get too detailed. I just want to throw in a little bit. And I'm just using the yellow. And I'm just going to do some quick stitches here up into these little bits to show you what I mean. So they have this heat and bond is sewable. They have the ultra heat and bond that is meant to not be sewn. So this is not supposed to gum up your needle. And I think for the most part it doesn't gum up my needle. So I'm just quickly top stitching over my applique. I forgot to turn on my fan, so I'm already hot. So I'll just show you the first bit that we've done. So you can see here on the bottom, maybe you can see, where is it? There it is. We've sewn just a bit around just to help it to stay on. I'm going to go over this top this one that seems to not want to. And you can also, I'll show you, you don't have to stay. Like I'm going to just give myself the more, show you what you can do, the outline of it without, you can go over onto the gray fabric, I'm trying to say. Just to, you don't have to stay on that. And you should definitely take your time. Well, trolls or not, I'm happy to have you guys here. You guys are so nice to always be here. Just quickly going over all of this. I would definitely take more time if you are giving it as a gift. I just wanted to get some on it so it'll stay. Okay, so I've got, let me scoot you a little closer. I've top stitched around, and you can see, you can do, if you want, go over the gray, and you can barely even see it where I've done that. So there's a couple options for attaching that. I'm going to just trim my threads up. Now we're going to make the bag. So if that's what you've been waiting for, then we're ready. So once you have your applique all done, you'll see why you want to make sure this is all done before we move on, because you're not going to want to sew on it afterwards. So we're going to just take our piece and fold it in half. And we have 2 of each piece. So because we're making a lining, an inside and an outside. So we're going to take our other piece, also fold it in half. And I'm just going to sew right here to make this, to attach this. Oops. So straight down. I don't have snips. I should definitely look into it. Now for this, I want you to be very particular about your 1/4 of an inch, because we're going onto a circle, and I've done the math. And it has to be, you need a perfect 1/4 of an inch seam here. That's the way it's going to fit the best. So that's the way it will fit the best on the circle template that I've given you. So we've sewn around. Then we're ready to, let me think. This one, the inside, we don't need to turn it out. The outside, I don't think we need to turn them out at all. Hi, Susan. So now what we're going to do is you want to find where your applique is right side up, and we're going to pin the circle onto the bottom. So you can use clips or pins, and you're just going to pin around. And this, again, you're going to want to make sure when you do so, you want to use a 1/4 of an inch, your 1/4 of an inch seam. And I like to use a lot to make sure that it's going to fit, because you can still make some corrections if it's not going to fit. I'll show you. Hopefully I've done that. But I'll show you how to make those corrections if it doesn't seem to be fitting. So I'm just pinning around the circle. Or clipping. Just turning as I go. Make sure I'm all lined up here. Okay. Okay, so then you can see we've pinned all the way around. We've pinned the circle onto our piece all the way around. So if you look inside, you'll be able to see that we've got, that's what it will look like when we are ready to turn it out. So I'm going to just do that same thing on this one. And this, the inside doesn't matter what is up and down unless you're using a fabric that has like a, I don't have enough clips, so I'm going to use pins now. Unless you're using a fabric that has a direction. And if you're using a directional fabric, you'll just do the same. Look inside and put the pin the circle to what you want the bottom to be. It can definitely be hard to get that perfect 1/4 inch. It takes a lot of, and keeping it straight just takes a lot of practice. It seems like when you first start sewing, you're like, oh, this should be so easy. And then when you get into it, you're like, there's people who make it look easy. It's not that easy. It takes so much practice. So don't poke yourself. You should use your clips if you have them. I just don't have enough. I need to order some more. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I did this on the blog quite a while ago. I'm going to take pictures of this new one to put on that post, because if you see the pictures on there, they're kind of old. But it's so fun, and it's perfect for the holidays because, like, it's great for storage, and it's a fun little bag. The kids can bring it in the car for all their little toys, and it's a good place to store. And you guys, my kids have so many Legos, and my littlest is like obsessed with little Lego men. Like, the sheer amount of pieces is just ridiculous. So, yeah, craziness. Okay, so I said you can still make corrections. If you have a little bit of extra, I might not have pinned it super correctly here. You can just fold it over at the seam that you already made, and then we can then you can just make that seam, like, hold on. So find the seam that you already have and pin. Let me show you. We're still going to pin right here. Even my best laid plans, sometimes when I'm doing these, I'm kind of in a rush. So if you have extra, like I've got here, this is the seam I made. I pushed it to the outside and then use this line here and sew again to make the seam, to make a new seam. So we can just throw this on, and that way we'll get rid of some of the bulk. So this isn't necessary if you measure correctly, which apparently I don't. So I'm just gonna sew one more seam in here. I'm just using my old seam as a mark to make sure it's straight. So see, can you see? I did it on the wrong side. So my other seam, I've just made it use that line to make sure it was straight. And then then you'll have a good spot here, and it'll fit perfectly. Okay, now we're ready. We're gonna sew these on. I think this is like my favorite. I just think they're so fun looking. Okay, we'll do the pin one first. So again, you want to try and keep 1/4 inch seam, and you're just going to turn and sew, and don't sew over your pins. Make sure you don't do that. And just make sure all this is out of the way and you've got a flat. You're just sewing over the 2 layers. And you probably saw I used a lot of pins. I really like the way you turn and maneuver this one. I like to make sure it stays in place. Double check everything here. Turned. Hold on, I've got kind of a situation here. Let's see. Fabric got turned around. There we go. And something is happening here with this bit. There we go. That's better. Make sure this is still okay. There we go. We're going to just back stitch. Good morning, Greta. Hi, Karen. Okay, so let's see. This is the inside, so we won't trim this one out. But you can see, I'll just show you what it looks like here so far. This is what we've got. It looks just like this. And if you were to look inside, you can see we've got quite the little thing going on right now. So now we're going to just do this other one real quick, as quick as can be. This one is about the same amount of extra there, so it'll fit fine. Okay. I should have, yeah, if you happen to not have the right, if it's not fitting, hopefully they both don't fit the same, just like mine don't both fit. They're about the same amount. Susan, which bins are you talking about? These right here, these shelves that I've got, I just got those at Target. Yep, I got them at Target. They have them in several colors, but I'm a bright white kind of gal. I love my bright. I don't usually go for anything dark furniture because it sucks all the light away. And I don't like that. Okay. All right. There we go. Just make sure, I'm just going to go around on all my, and make sure I've caught it all, because with the circles it can be a bit dicey. I'm going to do the same on this one. Just check out the other side, make sure I've got it all. Okay, so now we're ready to turn out this bit. And so you can see, you wouldn't, I guess you could technically do some sewing right now because this does fit. You could technically work on an applique, but it's going to be a lot more difficult than doing it beforehand. So if we turn it out, just take your finger and run it along that seam. Okay, and as you get something in there, it helps push that seam out. Go. So there's what, this is so far what we've got. And then we just have one more step, and that's to stuff it and close up the opening. So I like to put my seams together for this, like these long seams. And before I do that, I'm just going to take, well, let's do this first. I'm just going to take this, make sure this seam that we put in is straight, and I'm just going to fold this all under, and I'm just going to actually clip it. You can do just a quarter is plenty. This is what I just did is probably more like a half, but I just wanted to get a bit under and by about 1/4 of an inch. So I've just folded under and clipping in place. It helps if you get the whole thing and then kind of, you can wiggle them. Pressing this under would be a good idea. You could do that. My iron has gotten cold. You can do that. So just press your seam. Make sure it's flat there. Press your seam under. Like so. And that way you don't have to keep the clips, which will be bulky when we're trying to put everything together. I need to get one of those cut and press mats that they have. Those are awesome. Do you guys have one? You can cut on it and press on it. Okay, so there's our first one. We've just got that seam pressed under. And then we will, I'm going to stuff this in and then line up this seam. I'm going to line up the inside seams first. That would be smarter. So I'm just going to put my hand there, shove this guy in, give it some wiggles. Straighten this out. I know that I got a crookedness. And then I'm going to start lining. Where did it go? There it is. Then fold it under and clip it in place. So I've just started here on I like to put the seams together, and I've clipped in place. I folded under the gray, and we can just use the red pattern, make sure it's all the way stuffed, to line up our gray fabric. I'm just going to clip all the way around. Sorry, guys. You could do that. I guess maybe I take back that you could do that. So the logistics of that, of having something that's lined that you then turn out, you would have an open edge on the circle. So your opening would be on the circle underneath, and it would be really hard to make it look nice. But it would be on the inside, so, I mean, that's up to you. And this also, this way you can add, this way you could add straps. So you would just put them in here with this. So that's another reason this is a good method to do it. You could, yes, Jennifer, once you sew it all in place, I might just sew down this seam, this side seam here, which we have created. You could sew right down that to keep the lining in place. So that's an option too. Feeling quiet today. I'm not feeling super tired, if you noticed. Usually I can ramble on, but today it's not quite happening. Okay. So now we've clipped all the way around, and we're just going to top stitch that in place. And this was meant to be kind of slouchy. I'll show you what's happening here. But you could also add some interfacing inside, and that would, I had a ribbon here, and that would, make it not so, it would make it not fall over like slouchy. I wanted it to be slouchy, but you don't have to make it slouchy. So I'm going to sew it like this. It should be, oh, thanks, Alicia. So it should be totally big enough to use your sleeve turner here, where you put the part of it under and you just sew in a circle. Okay, so I'm just gonna, no, I don't like that. Hold on. Stop. Redo. I had it on the wider stitch. I want to do it tighter to the edge. So I'm just going to try and get as close to the edge as I can. So that means I have my needle set at 0, and I'm using this edge. The fabric is lined up with the very edge of my 1/4 inch foot. So I think that's more like an 1/8 of an inch of a stitch. I think being able to see it in your head is like the first step to kind of creating your own things. That's how I always do it, is I have to, usually someone will ask me to make something and I'm like, I need like a few days to think about it. I need to let my brain zone and figure out how would that be constructed. So most things like, so that way I create my own stuff, because I don't ever actually, what is happening? This is just super long. I always create my own patterns. I like rarely ever look at anything else anyone has done, because I just like to come up with my own way of doing it, whether that's good or bad. That's just part of the creativity process for me. I like to just, I could make that. How would I do that? How would that work? And sometimes your mind says it would work and you try it and it totally wouldn't work. But we'll try that where we'll stitch that side seam down and see what it looks like. I'll be the guinea pig for your idea. And then I'm going to back stitch. So I think I said, but I just want to repeat one more time. If you wanted to add straps to this, it would have been in that moment before we sewed this together. You would have just thrown them in here, and it would be, you could add a strap. Okay, so let's quickly, let me think. Let me see if we can do this. So I guess if you want to keep it down, the lining in place, maybe we would just throw a stitch here in the bottom. So that might look like, here's one option we could do, is to slouch it down, make sure everything's lined up how you want it first, like really give the seams a press here. I typically don't worry too much about the lining coming out, because I mean, unless you specifically try and pull it out, it's not really gonna do that. But so we'll throw this in, come to the middle. You're not really gonna be able to see what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna throw, well, let's see, stand by, because let's do this. First of all, I'm gonna trim this up, because I've got a lot of thread, because I had the boo-boo. Okay, then I'm gonna give myself a mark here. So I'm gonna fold this. Well, let's see, maybe I'll just mark it with an eyeball. I'm so undecided. This wasn't part of the plan, so coming up with the ideas. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball it and find where I want to do it, because when it's on the machine, it's going to be hard to find the middle. So I'm just going to quickly, well, I can do it like this. Turn it outside. Turn it out and find, so these are also, since I just did that, totally reversible. So now this can be on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my circle and I'm going to find what I think is the middle, and I'm just going to throw a little stitch in there. So here I've traced out what I'm going to do. This will help attach the lining. If you can see the pencil mark, I'm just going to do a little swirl right like that with my machine. Yeah, you could pin them in place. Throw a pin if you want. it's not really, I don't think it'll move too much either way, but you can pin that down. And then we're going to just go around that zigzag that we just created. But I am going to throw it back in because I think it's going to be easier to maneuver. All right. Then I've got my bottom. And I'm just going to start at my swirl here. Just kind of turn it around. Swirl. Like so. And this doesn't have to be. I'm still using my coordinating yellow, so you won't really be able to see. I guess technically you could just go all the way out if you wanted in a swirling motion, but pull this out. Because what I was thinking was you could, before I was thinking, my brain thought, oh, you could go along this, but then it would be really hard to get the whole line. So that wouldn't really work, I don't think. So just trim up, find this here. Is this it? Okay, so then we'll pull out our pins. Yeah, you could still totally attach something here on the sides. And then this is driving me crazy. I have to re-press this down before I show you the finished. Because I want it to look pretty, and this middle piece didn't want to stay down, and I didn't sew it in place, so I'm gonna have to sew it. There we go, it's better. All the turning got mad. I didn't do an excellent job of pressing it anyways. So, okay. So then let me just stand up here. I'm going to use this since it's what I have close at hand. So then it's just a slouch, and this won't necessarily be super visible when you have it tied up. But this is how I would just do a ribbon, or you could do fabric. And turn it out, but I love that it's just like totally slouchy. You can tie it up. This would be fun for, you know, some gifts that are harder, like a ball. You could throw a ball in here. Yeah, so it's meant to be slouchy and fun. So that's the thing. And then you can turn it inside out too. So it's reversible, which is nice. Just press, and that worked out just fine. See, we've got our little, that's going to hold the lining in, and we've got, it's barely even visible. Maybe don't mark it in pencil if you're going to reverse it. You could throw some interfacing in here to make it stand up a little bit more. Yeah, I love all the different options of things that you can do. You could use it as to store bits, your odds and ends, you know, like throw your pins in here and thread and stuff, and then just cinch it up. This would be good to take if you go to quilting classes or quilt alongs. And then I might also just press this seam here. This would be a good seam to press so that it looks a little sharper. You could also, if you want it to be a little bit sturdier, put some interfacing in the bottom. That would hold up really well. And if you can fold it over a couple times. You know, there's lots of different, like when the kiddos are playing, they can have it folded over like this. Just roll it up and tie it up, and their toys are collected. Fun little slouchy sack. So, yeah, that's all for this one. You can get the templates, find the cut file that we used in the blog post in the description of this video. So you can share this video so you can find all of that later. Go to the post and pin it. You can find it that way. Lots of different options. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on notifications so you can find when we're live. We're live every Monday. Where is it? Where's the front? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Central. So it's always the same time, always the same days. So, oh, and I wanted to show you, let me find it. On Wednesday, we are going to delve into something a little bit more not beginner. And I think we're going to make a placemat with triangles. So these are so fun to use, but I mean, they're not the easiest, and they can be complicated. So we're going to make a placemat with triangles, and I'm going to use this, my Tula Pink. So I will try and put up tomorrow a link for this on my Facebook page. So if you wanted to grab it, you can for this little bundle. It's super cute, and we'll just make a triangle placemat, or you could do it as a table runner. There's lots of different options. So that's the plan for Wednesday. So yeah, and then as always, if you have any ideas, if you have anything you'd like to make, I'm totally open to suggestions. I'm always wanting to make what you want to make. So let me know what you want to make, and don't forget to share this and turn on your notifications so you can find us next time we're live. And head over and get all the supplies in the tutorial over on that blog post that's listed. I'll throw this video, the replay, into that post too. So then if you pin the post, you'll have all of it there, the video and the tutorial and the supplies. So it'll all be together. So that's a good idea. Go over and pin it. Thanks, me. That's a great idea. All right, guys, have a good day. We'll see you later.